This is Cutting Down the Nets. It's the last big Saturday of the year. Conference tournaments start next week. The big boys play the week after. Home stretch is here. I'm finally heating up. A lot of close losses this year, but nearly profitable. It'll be funny after like 650 games of betting to like be up a unit, grinding my insides out every single day to be up like 1 unit, where it's the same as like someone just logging in for the first time all year and be like, oh no, Notre Dame plus 12 looks good, and then winning that bet. So, hey, that's what this sport does. So, I enjoy it. It's fun. Let's look at Saturday. Here's what I do. I want to answer the question, who's playing better now than they have throughout the year? Because most point spreads are set using a year-to-date number for the most part. They get shaded towards recent play or situational spot, things like that. So I want to know how to quantify how well a team is playing now compared to the entire year. I also wanted to ask or answer the question, why? Is that because of luck, where the shots they're taking are not good shots, but they're going in? Or is it a little bit of both, where they're taking good shots and they're also becoming more efficient and starting to make shots? So for every matchup that has a color on here, I've identified as interesting. Then the game I play is, why is this showing as a play? And try to poke holes in it. And if I can't, I think that's a bet worth taking. So I'll quickly go through these. This is a giant schedule, not quite as big as previous Saturdays, but this spreadsheet's in the description of the video. I think it's best that you go through it, find the games that you've identified. I've put some notes in here as to what I'm thinking, but people may see things differently. I'll start at the top. Based on recent efficiencies, I have Miami by 23, 24 points. Again, I stress this all the time. I use this directionally, meaning I'm on the Miami side, and it doesn't necessarily mean that I think they're going to cover by 10 points. If I'm in on the game, it's still going to be a 1 unit play. Like, I don't do anything crazy like that. But using it directionally, I'm on the Miami side. This line opened shorter than I expected. KenPom 17. This opened at 14. Miami has ran hot. But at some point, it's like, yeah, Miami's run hot the whole year because they have really good guards, pretty good offensive rebounding team, good shooters. I mean, good coach. I mean, what else do you want? Also, it's kind of weird to think, well, they're favored by 14 over Florida State, but analytically, Florida State's no different than like Northern Kentucky or something like that. So would we be that shocked if it was Miami minus 14 versus Northern Kentucky? Probably not. So it's orange because it's a big number. I don't like to lay points, but it's certainly interesting. Looking at some other ones, UCSB has been shorthanded, so I think that is leading to some of their recent play. Pierre Louis, I don't know if it's Pierre Louis. I don't know if he's that French or if it's Pierre Louis. But anyway, he missed the last game. They've also been without Sani, the Gauchos. He's been out 3 games. JPL has missed 1 game. So that's unknown, but I think that's contributed to some of their inefficiencies of late. But I have that yellow because it's a 2-possession home dog where all data points favor the home team. So kind of interesting. American versus Loyola. America won this first game by 15. And looking at it, it didn't look like Loyola wasn't ever in the game. I think after 5 minutes in, it was pretty much a 10-plus point venture the rest of the game. There is some turnover upside for Loyola Maryland, but they're 350th in 2-point defense. Americans 7th in 2-point offense. They run that slow Princeton-style offense, getting lots of easy buckets. So I'm on the fence. I mean, shot quality's saying Loyola. Paddy's saying Loyola. Not sure where I'll go. Definitely in the pool. Back to the well on my Elon VS. Shot quality, using the recent data for shot quality, has this around a possession to 2. Same with Paddy. And we're getting a possession at home. Elon did not work out against a shorthanded William and Mary. the other night, but all year long have performed better than record indicates, and not a terrible spot here. All right, home Tennessee. We'll see who's playing for them. They've been a little short-handed as well. Evan Mia noted that Julian Phillips really affects Tennessee's defense, but pointed out that Phillips was playing during the obscene 3-point defense run that they had. So this is a slower pace game. Tennessee's better at home. 20 points is a lot. As you can see, I have it closer to like 15, 16, so there's not a whole lot of wiggle room there. South Carolina's bad. Tennessee owns like all the four factors, like turnovers, shooting, rebounds, fouls. So it's tight, but it's also 20 points. I mean, talking 7 possessions here in a low possession game. Next on my list, Northern Illinois. So they went 1-19 their last game. Last game is weighted heavier than any of the other data points I look at. I mean, it's not too out of proportion, but Central Michigan also went 0-13 in their last game. So not when these two teams played, just their most recent game. So that kind of balances out, I think. Likely turnovers on both sides. Northern Illinois won the first game by 20, forcing 14 steals. A little easier to do that at home. So here we are on the road at Central Michigan with a short favorite. Hampton, North Carolina A&T. This was nearly yellow. A&T did win the first game by 12, but Hampton went 10-25 at the rim. They also performed awful in the mid-range as well. So if they could clean that up a bit, should help. But shot quality is right there at 6, with the line 6.5. So it's pretty close. San Diego State, New Mexico. This is a desperate New Mexico team. It might already be too far gone for them, but it's a pass for me, mainly based on recent shot quality. Favoring the Lobos here. You're at the pit. Just a lot to play for. Emotional atmosphere. Skipping Western Illinois, NDSU, because shot quality is 2 possessions away from the line. Paddy's 2 possessions away from the line the other way, so that's a pass for me. Morehead State, I keep thinking it's like top for them, where I just don't want to keep riding them. Like, okay, now the bottom's going to fall out a little bit. So I've sat out a lot of their winners that Paddy's identified. Like, hey, I'd play Morehead, and I'm like, yeah, how about no? They're just shooting too well. And then they go 13-25 from 3 again. So who knows? Now I'll jump on them, and it will probably be the game that they kind of snap back a little bit. So Martin did win the first game, so there's a little bit of a revenge angle there too. Maryland Eastern Shore beat Coppin State by 20 in their first matchup. Both teams made half of their threes. I've played against Coppin State, got lucky with one, didn't with the other in the last 2 games of theirs. So it's orange. Don't love those types of games. Winthrop has been shooting the ball well all year. They take a lot of threes, and High Point's going to funnel to the 3-point line as well. Recent data favoring the Winthrop side. Moving through, got some orange ones here. They're just a little shaky because shot quality is not perfectly in line with the spread, or it's laying a big number. Like laying 10 points with Merrimack is certainly one way to live your life. Paddy median was pretty close to that, but recent shot quality has it by 15. LIU Brooklyn's pretty bad. Merrimack's awful, but they certainly got it done a few nights ago. Looking through these orange, I'm going to scroll down. You'll see this spreadsheet posted in the description of this video. LaSalle getting a possession here at George Washington, but I think there's room for that line to grow, which is what I would want to back LaSalle there. First question you ask when playing Loyola Chicago is, does the other team force turnovers? St. Louis does not. However, St. Louis does have pretty good 2-point defense, which could negate some of the efficient Loyola Chicago offense. I've mentioned it on many shows, but Loyola Chicago can make shots when they get shots. They just often don't get shots due to the amount of turnovers they have. So this should result in more shots, and they're going to need them too because St. Louis is a pretty good defensive rebounding team. Vermont at Bryant. I've been kind of targeting playing against Bryant a lot. I've got away with it for the most part. I've been burned a couple times, but line didn't open as short as I was hoping, so I'm still on the Vermont side, but I was really hoping for that KenPom number. So we'll kind of see what that does. So again, for each of these data points, I'm looking at recent play for efficiency. How have they performed? And then I'm trying to identify why did they perform that way. If it looks like it's mainly due to 3-point luck, then I sit those games out. And if I can't find any holes to poke, then I make some bets. So this is kind of my pool right now. But as you saw, I mean, there's like 30 games here that I'm still sifting through. So this is the pool as it stands right now. And man, I hope we can close with a good, busy last Saturday. I can't wait to get back into my own house after being on the road for the last 5 days with my kids. This is Cutting Down the Nets. Let's finish strong. See you all on Sunday.